Hi, I'm Preston White. The South River's right here, 52.6 miles long, and has a watershed of roughly 150,000 acres. It starts here in Waynesboro and then it joins with the North River to form the South Fork Shenandoah River, leads into the Shenandoah River, which leads into the Potomac River, which leads into the Chesapeake Bay. The primary stressor on this river is mercury, and we interviewed Calvin Jordan from the Harrisonburg DEQ about this. He will tell you more about it.
1929, DuPont opened a factory in Waynesboro, Virginia. They were making a product called acetate flake, which was then used to make rayon. In the chemical process to make that, they used mercury. Mercury was a catalyst in the chemistry to make that product, but did not end up in the final product. The mercury would end up in their waste sludge. They then took the waste sludge and put it through a process called retort, just because of the time, talking between 1929 to 1950. Some mercury got on the ground. I'm sure some of the sludge got on the ground. The mercury is in the soil at the plant site, got into the sewer system, and eventually made its way to the river. They stopped using mercury in 1950. They started using a different chemical process. And so the mercury problem we have now is a legacy problem. It's been in the river then and keeps getting introduced to the river through flooding and erosion. And there's also been a constant trickle of mercury coming out of the plant site still to this day. It averages about a gram a day, and DuPont is currently working to try to stop that. When you talk to a lot of locals about pollution in South River, they don't really think a lot about the mercury. They think about other issues. But a lot of the contamination from the past is gone, and it's the mercury that's left over. The real problem with mercury is when mercury gets into an aquatic system, there's bacteria in the sediment that convert that mercury to methyl mercury. Methyl mercury is a more toxic form of mercury, and that bioaccumulates. Currently, the main risk to humans is from consumption of fish. The mercury in the soil, for the most part, is low. There are a few places it's above what we call an EPA screening level, but DuPont's currently evaluating that and working with DEQ and the EPA on what needs to be done to address that issue. Currently, we're working with DuPont on how to replace those sorts of resources that are suffering from the mercury. Whether it's birds, other wildlife, recreational fishing has been affected, and we're also working with them along with EPA on trying to first get the plant site taken care of as far as turning off that trickle of mercury that's coming out, and also how to prevent that mercury from getting into the food chain on South River. Currently, we're evaluating a bunch of stream banks on South River in Waynesboro to do some soil removal and capping to prevent that mercury from eroding into the river.
There's a big mercury spill on the South River here many years ago, but you can still do some recreational stuff like fishing here and swimming and whatever else fun games you guys want to do in the water. But oh, look, caught one. Look at that thing. That's a nice fish. That's awesome. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't eat that if I was you.
Yeah, you're right. There's a health warning on the back of that thing. It says health advisory on eating fish. Fish caught in these waters may contain mercury. Mercury may be hazardous to your health. No fish other than trout should be eaten from these waters. Well, this ain't trout. I guess I ain't eating this one.
So right here, we're a few miles up the river from where the South River meets the North River to form the South Fork of the Shenandoah. Along the river at this point on both sides, we've got some good vegetation between trees and shrubs, as you can see. Over there we've got some canopy closure over the river. These trees provide a lot of good shade and habitat. It keeps the water cooler, and the critters love to live over here in the root systems where the trees dip into the water. You'll notice how clear the water is right here, but looks can be deceiving. You might look at this river and say, wow, it's in really good health. But there you're sadly mistaken, my friend. Remember that mercury spill.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.